That sounds great. Well, with that, let's get started. Uh,
With AI, but it has been crazy this week with AI. I'm maybe a bit exhausted. I even started a conversation with ChatGPT about my genuine AI fatigue because there's just so much happening, and I cannot keep up. There's videos coming out of everywhere. Google, OpenAI, all
yeah,
releasing new models. OpenAI's the names of their models are just crazy. You've got what is it, O4, and then no 4O, and then O4 Mini, and then O4 Mini Nano, O4. Oh my god, it's crazy. But we're in it now. We might as well just keep talking about it. But the most interesting thing about it all is that obviously as developers, we've always gone with Cursor and Claude, and that's the kind of like that's the dev thing. Whereas now OpenAI have come out with some dev-specific tooling, like I say, the Nano, the Mini, and O4 Nano, O4 Mini, and whatever. And it looks like they're going to be buying Windsurf for
yeah.
like 9 billion or something crazy.
I heard
so I
three. Yeah, but
okay, I just made that number up. Yeah, you might be more.
Yeah, 3 billions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like, what is Windsurf? Isn't it just a fork of VS Code? So you basically, yes. So you take VS Code, you do basically you fork it, and then you add a bunch of like AI on top of it, and it's not like their own AI. I don't want to undermine it by any means, but at the same time, I don't understand like what is so complex about not being able to build what Cursor and what Windsurf are. They are just connected to a bunch of APIs and getting AI. And I mean, I'm pretty sure there is more going on, but just seeing it from far away, just for like 3 billion for such a, like, when did they start it? I heard Windsurf like 3 months ago, and now they're going for 3 billion. That's crazy.
No, they've been going for a while. I used it. I pitted them against each other for a bit. They're both VS Code. I'm just looking at the model list now for Cursor, and I can use GPT-4o, but they haven't added the new ones. They've added Gemini Pro, which was released yesterday. Gemini 2.5 Pro. So they've added that. So they're really pushing the Claude but you're right. They're not really offering anything extra. They're both the same experience. Weirdly, Windsurf came out with this sort of, I think they were the OG vibe code apps, like a dev experience, because they had, what do they call it, the Cascade view.
Okay.
And then and then Cursor only came out with their, I don't know what they call it, maybe they call it an agent view or something like that. They only came out with their agent view maybe at the beginning of this year, end of last year. So Windsurf were actually first to the table, and everyone's telling me, "Oh, check out Windsurf." But yeah, then Cursor added this agent view, agent experience, and now they're both kind of doing the same thing. So, and if they both, and unless they've got an exclusivity agreement with OpenAI, so OpenAI can't go in Cursor, and then Claude can't go in OpenAI, whatever, or Windsurf, it'll be interesting. But there's definitely a war raging right now for the dev space between the two. And the benchmarks are particularly impressive with OpenAI. Like, yeah.
The new ones.
The new ones, yeah, the new ones. Even the Nano, like from a price perspective, from a performance perspective, like the fact that Claude is so expensive as well.
Yeah, they are ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, so OpenAI are really, like, again, they're making it cheaper, a lot cheaper as well. So I wonder how Claude will respond, to be honest.
Yeah, so just for like our audience, I'm putting my cursor on the screen so they know what we are talking about. This is Cursor, in case you don't know. It's just like VS Code, basically a code editor, but it just has a bunch of like AI feature. So it allows us, for example, I can here prompt something and it goes into this code that I have, this file essentially, and it will change stuff here. Or it can like create everything. In my case, I actually created every single line of code that you see here, like 400 lines of code. All of it was created using a bunch of like different AIs. Here, it can automatically like choose a model, or like you can specify what model you want. And there is Windsurf, which is essentially the same thing. And now OpenAI allegedly wants to buy them for $3 billion, which is insane.
I actually think it's a solo dev as well, because he came onto the stream that OpenAI did. I don't know, don't take that for fact, but it was just this nerdy little guy who founded Windsurf. And yeah, so they've done very well off an open source browser.
Yeah,
I bet Microsoft are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Microsoft.
Not that 3 billion is anything to them, to be fair.
Yeah. What did Satya said about the OpenAI thing? He was like, "Yeah, I'm good for my 100 billion or something like this." And it was like peanuts to them.
Know. Yeah, definitely. Another interesting thing, just we won't go into it because it's too nerdy, but like. So Cursor was blocked out of a bunch of Microsoft-owned plugins. So a lot.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, that also happened. Yeah.
I think it was C++ or something like that. Some C++ plugins didn't work, but if you know, and it's a weird licensing kind of loophole where the plugin itself is open source, the plugin, but the libraries that the plugin then uses are not open source. So they've locked those down, and a bunch of people got locked out. So I don't know. Do you know if that resolved or anything like that?
I'm not sure what happened, but it feels like WordPress drama all over again, but this time with Microsoft.
Why don't you do some live vibe coding? Why don't you add something here, showing what this is?
So we can do this actually. So let me show what this is. Okay, I have something else on the screen. We'll talk about that as well. But for now, so this is actually a request by somebody in the community. So someone in the community asked me, he showed me like a design with a bunch of stars. So essentially just a bunch of dots. And he said, hey, can you create these stars and make them sprinkle, like make them basically blink? And I was like, yeah, of course I can do this. And I've, like, full clarity, I've done this in the past with like very earlier versions of ChatGPT. But then this guy, he wanted also these meteors. What are they called? Like these shooting stars, essentially.
Yeah.
So he wanted those as well. So I thought, yeah, sure, I can do this. And what I did, so you see I have a Webflow setup here. And all it matters here is that I have a canvas. So the canvas, as you know, it allows me to draw basically graphics in it that are very performant. And I'm just using an attribute to target this. And then I went to Cursor and I essentially told Cursor here in the chat, build this. I described it and whatnot, and then I asked it to create these parameters. So I'm not sure if I'm using the same code, so let me check that real quick. No, I actually added the code here completely manually. So should I do that, or do you want to share something? Yeah, I don't know why I did this.
I have not coded for the last few days, so I wouldn't be comfortable like just whacking something up. But I guess, you know, you can just describe like this idea of vibe coding is a prompt-based coding, which interestingly, I was looking at domain names, and vibe coding or vibe dev or vibe code, something like that. That was registered in something like 2016 or something like this. So, I mean, not that it says anything too revealing, but yeah, vibe coding, I think the association is that you are prompt-based coding, and I'm not sure which bridges the line between like vibe coding and AI-based coding. Not too sure, but
Why don't I have my live server? How can I turn that on? So now we see live how if you don't know how to code, you get stuck really easily. My live server, it's installed and it's there, but I can't open this with live server.
You can't live serve a JS file. Live serve the HTML file.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. So see, very basic stuff. So what I need to do is I need to copy this, not the HTML one, I know, but the JS file and then add it here, right? To make it work.
Totally look into my Proxyman.
Yeah. Is this like the correct sentence that I...
Yes.
Yeah. So if I preview this, it should work because I have also this enable custom mode. It works. So now the code, so what we see here is essentially coming from this code. And what we can do is we can increase the number of the stars from 100 to 1,000. And I guess I don't have hot reloading. What is it called? Like, you know?
You just because you're doing it in the
Webflow.
You're not. You haven't.
Yeah, but obviously it's
you can
like
publish this and it will still work.
Yeah, exactly. We see that we have a bunch of like more stars, and I don't know, like we can change the size of the stars from 1 pixel to 3.
I feel like you're just plugging your thing right now. This ain't vibe code.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to do?
Change it with a prompt. Say you change the number of stars to 5,000.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Well, let's think of something more exciting. Why just
change the color of the stars. Change the color of the stars.
I mean, I already have like variables for these, but yeah.
Yeah, but like randomize the color.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. So, make the color of the stars random. So I basically say this and then press send, and it starts thinking, I don't know, like generating, thinking, whatever, and then it will suggests me edits to this file, as you will see, and I can accept all of them. No, we need to wait for it to finish, right? Yeah. What happens if I just accept it before it finishes? Is it like finished? It seems like, yeah. So we have 5 changes, and it's doing a bunch of I don't know.
Random color. There we go.
Yeah, it's adding a bunch of code. I don't know. I don't want to pretend that I understand. And let's preview and see if it works. Yeah, it did.
Vibe it out,
Magic. This is vibe coding at its peak. Let's actually publish this so we are also like seeing it. Oh, this is the old one.
It would only work on your computer though, because you haven't got that file.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you went to that URL, you won't see anything.
Yeah,
well, you might see something, but
yeah.
There you go. Isn't it beautiful?
This is beautiful. Make a wish, and that's basically vibe coding. Make a wish, and the agent just brings it to life. No errors, no bugs, no issue, no vulnerability issues.
Nothing.
Nobody can hack you. And there has been 0 hacking incidents in the past week or so.
So with that then, right, we spoke briefly about this before the call. Like, I've obviously, my YouTube channel is all about like no code, right? And obviously I am a coder and I've been doing development for a long time. And so I have that, sensibility about me, let's say. But I've been able to kind of start to transition my content now because of the advent of vibe coding, because this is still no code. This is still the world of no code. And Raymars, who may or may not be still live with us, he left us a little message over there. He's been balls deep in the vibe coding stuff. Like a lot of these no coders who were once building in Webflow, once building in all of these no code platforms like this, are now moving into vibe coding or AI-based coding because they still don't have the right code. Now, obviously there's this big difference between a designer, what the designer's terminology for no code is. They're going to be more fixated on like the design output. Oh God, what's happened now? What did you ask it?
Well, somebody said make a shape, and I wanted to make a heart shape, but it completely, yeah.
That's the shape of my heart, mate. That's the shape of my heart. It's one big hole. It's a big hole into nothingness.
Darkness.
Darkness, yeah.
It's great that people are suggesting some changes. So this one didn't work. So if I want to go back, can I just Control Z and will it work?
Yeah, Control Z and then reject the file, yeah. You should, no, because you're in preview mode, isn't it? Oh no, you are.
No, so I didn't Control Z it. Reject the file. Okay, let's save it. We go back here. Okay, now we are back, baby. So guys, if you have a suggestion, you can let me know. But you were talking about Raymar.
I was talking about just
coding.
This definition of like what no coding is right now, and so in the no code kind of community, you've got this. Because I remember like when I first started doing it, I think some guy on Twitter came to me and said he spoke about like you can't do this and you can't do that. The Webflow can do, and I said I even made a video on it, right? Yeah, you can. You can do everything that Webflow can do. It's just the manner in which you do it, and the mindset in which you approach it. And I'm still trying to figure out this definition and where they differ, because I think there's a lot of Webflow no coders who fundamentally can't comprehend what's happening or how to code an app. Point I'm trying to make is I think we're in a real interesting point where when you talk about no code, is it vibe coding or is it typical Webflow? Is it all of those no code platforms?
Well, the way I see it still to this point, if we talk about something like Cursor, I find it really helpful. I use it. I really like it. I've fallen in love with it, and I want to actually do a bunch of like client work where I get like a little bit of money and I can do this even more, right? This is like the direction I want to go, to mix this actually with something like Webflow, something that is rigid. There's a platform around it, and this is where I can also make money from. My clients, they don't want a vibe coded, I would say lovable website that might break any time. And is not, they need CMS, they need a bunch of like different things. You could theoretically make any website with Lovable, but make it, that rigid and have all that control that you have easily with Webflow. You don't have it that easily with Lovable, at least yet. You could theoretically go into the code. Yeah, you can go to the code and change stuff, but then it becomes coding. And if you rely only on prompting, then it gets really frustrating in my opinion, because especially like if you don't understand what's going on, you're so high in the level of like abstraction that you have no view over like how even a class works. At least in Webflow you have a concept for a class. In Framer you have a concept for a component. In Lovable you have prompts. So my issue with the current state of something like Lovable and vibe coding tools similar to it is that you have these duality of you either only prompt or you go full in code, and there is no in between. And for me, Webflow has been and is still that in between that is visual. You can like change stuff if you need to, and I would love to see Webflow actually come up with something like
that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Rounded corners. I mean, it feels excessive to do that. Like just to say put rounded corners on this button. But like, let's see what they come up with. But I'm trying to come at this from the perspective of like, what do you say to someone when they're asking like, what tool do they use? How do you, if you're the fork in the road where they says, right, you go down Lovable or you go down Webflow, what's the clincher? And I think ultimately, if they're a designer, they're more interested in the design output. They don't care about the fundamental, the infrastructure of the app. Like they don't want to build a login system that goes off and creates a user, and then with that user then populates a form, like all of that complex stuff. Like really vibe coding is it's code, like it's coding, and the only reason why you would go down a coding route is if you really want something so bespoke, you want something so to your needs. I had a client come to me, I did a consulting call with them, and they were like, we don't know whether we should go with Webflow or we should be leveraging AI and doing this vibe coding stuff. And I said, well, no one will know that you vibe coded your website. There's no like little badge that appears on the bottom of your website on whatever that says you vibe coded it. So I was like, I said, you're just, you're rubbing each other's backs. You're just patting each other on the back by saying you vibe coded your website. And ultimately, and a lot of the times they're React based websites anyway. So I just said, I think they should go with Webflow, but yeah. I think it's just an expectation thing. I think a lot of designers are coming in, from my perspective in my community, just confused about the whole, why would I do vibe coding? Why is this feasible? And the answer basically is, are you building an app? Are you building something that you need so much control and bespoke over? Is it a game? Is it a platform? Is it a dashboard? All that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think there's just an expectation thing that's being unmet somehow. And I think it probably started with Lovable saying Webflow's dead because they didn't understand Webflow.
I mean, they are good at marketing. I wouldn't say they don't understand Webflow. Maybe they do. You never know. I mean, I when I look at their website, it doesn't look like a great marketing website. And I think there is still a need for great marketing websites. I mean, we obviously see clients needing this still, and I don't see my clients going on and be like, okay, we'll make this with AI now. Maybe because yesterday actually, so this is super relevant to kind of similar to the client you had. I had a client who have a website, but now they want a proper website, not a client, a lead. So what they had it used, they made it in-house using Wix, and not even Wix Studio, just like the good old Wix. So the design was not great, to say like nicely. The design was not great. There was no strategy. There was
it's on Wix. I guess you can't.
It's so like everybody knows that. Yeah, exactly. It was not great, and he was looking for something exciting. He was like something that shows some contrast, something that has a little bit of at least motion, not like crazy animations, but something that when I see it, kind of like I remember it after I leave the website. And I gave him a quote, and I can't see this person. I cannot see this person today go to Lovable and make something, be like, okay, I don't need to go to Kabarza, I'll make it myself. I don't see that. If that is going to happen, or if this is something to happen, I hope so, that I will be the person who goes and learns that first, and I will find my edge there. I will find a way to still kind of have the upper hand, so they can come to me and buy some sort of like service from me, as if it's consulting, or it's essentially just leveraging the layer of the abstraction, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. And I think that there is a position here which we just spoke about, which is Webflow or some other tool allowing you to prompt your way through the build of a marketing website, but it's just contextualized in the marketing website. Whereas Lovable or Bolt or Replit, they're just far too broad. They are building apps, they're whatever. You can try and scope it to a marketing website, but for me, that's just a completely over. It's the reason why no code, Webflow and stuff was invented in the first place, because you shouldn't need to know the code for a marketing website. But there is space there, and I wonder who's gonna take it. Who's gonna vibe code a marketing website and give you the access like that Webflow does, that you can just get the bulk of it done through vibe coding, and you can select a button and then make it this or that or whatever. But I think it would come out of a mess though if you were just being so individual like that, because you've got no perspective of consistency or anything like this, or brand style guides.
So I'll show you something. If you look at my screen, you see I shared this on Twitter. And this is where I see, again, I'm plugging my stuff here, but this one is very broad. So I wanted to
my
create
viewers,
like...
Close your eyes, my viewers, close your eyes. Close
I
your
wanted
ears.
to... I wanted to create a concept, a prototype, and I did it with Cursor, just a cylinder made with images, and it looked like really like buggy, and it was like the worst. But I made the concept, and I was like, okay, this is the direction I want to go. My designer went to Figma, and when he saw that I'm happy with that direction, he started designing something really proper and nice. And somebody in the community actually messaged me, and now we are working on like a full-on like 3D experience for a landing page that I'm working on. I won't show that yet, but this is just a preview of that. This is like a WebGL cloth animation that is going on, and I think this is really smart. The guy is really good at doing this, and this is my point with AI. I was able to get a prototype, but I could not get anything like proper. And this guy that he's doing this, I asked him, are you using AI? And his answer was, well, I did use AI for some time, but then I noticed I'm just prompting, and I'm not getting the result in 2 hours, which I could get with just 20 minutes of thinking. So I stopped using it, and I'm just thinking about the mathematics that goes in it, and I don't have... So as of today, these tools are great for prototypes, but that's where I would draw the line, at least for today. I play with them, but that's it. I play with them. I have fun with them, but I cannot find a way to like properly like put Lovable in use and like sell it as a product or a service. It's just not there yet.
I'm just going to quickly answer a question that they were asking way back when you had Cursor up on the screen. What AI were you using? And I'm assuming that's what they were talking about. But I mean, I don't think they quite. So I mean, you were probably using Claude, right? But what their question
I'm using a mix. I'm an O1 fan. I use the mixed actually. I use the mixed of everything.
Okay.
But I cleaned up everything with O1. So I actually copied everything and brought it to ChatGPT. And I said, clean it up. It didn't do a great job. And then I said, can you rate my code? And it started like rating it. And I was like, okay, make it 10 out of 10. And it got it better because I asked my developer friend and he was like, yeah, this one is cleaner than this one. But that's where I would draw the line.
I think his question is more around like what tool were you using, because that is a coding tool. You don't have to use AI with that tool if you don't want to. That's just a window that you can open, and all of a sudden you can then code it and do whatever you want to with AI. So I think his question really is what tool were you using, which is Cursor, which just so happens to have an AI feature built in.
Exactly.
So yeah, I just wanted to get that one in. We'll go on to the next point now, which is just is the newsletter you sent me, which is a banging newsletter. So if you are interested in no code and whatever, there's a paid for newsletter. Shall I put it in the chat? But basically, the reason why I mentioned that now and segue into it is because one, it's a great newsletter. Well, actually, I have no idea what the newsletter is about, but with the newsletter, you get a bunch of it's Lenny's newsletter. You get a bunch of codes for year subscription access to a bunch of AI things. So Cursor is in there, which I've bought it and I'll be getting Cursor. But you've got Replit, which is another favorite of mine as of one of these vibe coding apps. You also get Lovable as well, free yearly access. You can. It's not just one of these tools. You get all of these tools. So I don't know what sort of agreement he's got. He must have a huge newsletter to convince them to give away $200, $300 subscriptions to all this stuff.
It's crazy.
You get it all.
Yeah.
But the reason why I mentioned, there you go. The reason why I mentioned this is actually because, what's the URL? Is it lennysnewsletter.com?
Yeah, lennysnewsletter.com.
Okay. I'm just going to put it in the chat. News.
Same. I'll put it in the chat for the Instagram
reason why I say
community.
this is that there's 2 vibe coding apps on there that I'm going to use now, because I've done a video where I pit up against Replit and Lovable and Cursor and Windsurf. But I want to try Bolt, which was released, or at least it was not necessarily released recently. I think it was updated significantly recently. And I also want to jump back into V0, which is Vercel's version of their vibe coding app. Because when I first used it, I mean, I could have just been rubbish. I could have just been like not knowing what I'm doing. But I remember trying to create an app through this, through V0, and was very unimpressed with the results. Very unimpressed with the results. So I'm keen to get back into it using this subscription. It's $155, I think, or £155 anyway for me. I don't know, but it gives me access to. Yeah, I'm glad you're sharing this screen. It gives me access to Lovable, V0, Replit, Cursor, all of this stuff. So it's a good excuse to.
This sounds amazing. Like, this sounds like an amazing deal. And not just this, you can actually get access to Linear, Notion, Perplexity Pro, Superhuman, and what the hell is Granola? I've never heard of them, but...
So here's a question, right? Here's a question that we've got from Christian, right? He says, Stripe payments, are Stripe payments supported in Bolt? Now, this is a really... Maybe this is a curse of knowledge, but it's making my brain fart. But when we talk about code, the answer to the question is yes.
Yeah.
When we talk about code, you build in the Stripe payments. Like, it is a blank canvas, and you code exactly what you want. Whatever your heart desires, in the case of Bolt, you vibe code the heck out of that thing. You say you want to add Stripe. So in of itself, it doesn't support Stripe payments, no. But because you're coding something, yeah, you can add. So
what does this mean here? That they support the new Stripe payment support? Like, is this some sort of I don't know, like, did they implement some UI where you can, like, instead of vibe code, maybe you click a few buttons and you connect, I don't know, the API, and they have some functionality built in?
The question for Christian is does it support it? It's a question. Oh no, actually, I'm just looking now. New Stripe payment support. So you might as well scratch all what I've just said, actually, to be fair. But but that is a question that keeps coming up with things. Is this supported or that supported? So that's what I was kind of answering. Is like, are these sorts of things supported? So
it's just
partner with.
Yeah.
So they are announcing that they're supporting Stripe payments. Let me have a look. Do you want me to share my screen and I can dig through it?
Yeah, you can. You just share your screen and it should appear.
Okay, right. Am I on top of your screen?
Yep. If you share the same screen, should be fine.
I'm the winner. I'm the winner. So you should see some. Here we go. Right, so I'm on the integration page now. So Stripe integration relies on Supabase, which is really interesting. So make sure you've connected your Supabase account. So the reason why you would do that is because you need to keep in synchronization your users and their whether they're still paying, right? Whether they're still paying for your subscription. So what happens is they buy something on Stripe, it creates a customer on Stripe, and then it fires a webhook back to your application. And your application needs to be able to handle that, whatever that webhook is. It could be invoice failed, it could be invoice succeeded, it could be change subscription, something like that. So I'm guessing, obtain Stripe key. I'm guessing that there's probably something set up so you connect the Supabase and there's this sort of intertwining, like it probably just writes a bunch of code to set up those webhooks as an example, and it just knows the database names that it's created and it knows the Stripe API thing that.
But is this not the same thing as like no, they are. It feels like these vibe coding tools are going the no-code route. They are like starting a vibe coding, but they are adding UI. They are adding, essentially it's a button, right? They are adding UI to connect these things, so you don't have to vibe code literally everything, because so many things are templatized, like Stripe connections.
Well, yeah, and I'm guessing, well, maybe not, but you could probably, there's probably a prompt that you could give it that does all of this for you. You know, when we talk about having access to the code, you can do about what you do whatever you want, but there's probably a prompt that will say set this up, set that up, and it's a prompt away realistically. But this is just, I think this is just adding a little sweetener to the deal to make sure that you know that this is set up in the right way. It's probably just a template that creates the files, it creates the data, the migrations on the database, and it links your Stripe account. Everything else is...
Here I have a question regarding like how you see the future of this vibe coding versus no coding. What if Webflow had a tool? What if they would add a feature where you could type in whatever UI that you want, and you would get essentially the HTML elements and the CSS all in the Webflow UI, so you could also go in and change them manually, but also have the option to completely, like just the way Lovable makes UI, there would be an AI for Webflow that would make UI the same way. Would that, how do you see that happening? Or would you want that?
There's a war going on right now, right?
Yeah.
Because this is your focus, right? The UI stuff. Like, you want that kind of control. I'm a developer, and I literally just want to see the thing working. That's my pride. I've literally just I've built an app. I will be releasing it. I won't be plugging it here, but it will be available next week. I built an app. It works, and I'm really excited about it. I had to really just like stop myself from launching it, because I'm like, it needs UI. Like, as much as I'm just like, it works. Like, why do you care about, like, why should anyone, like, the fact that it works is my priority. But the point is, and I always go back to a tweet that I sent a little while ago, and it's like, you've got one shot. You've got one shot when you launch a product. And Lovable is not the best tool. I'm sorry to tell you, Lovable is not the best tool, but it looks so nice. And I think that's why it's getting a lot of attention. Bolt. The best tool, in my opinion, is Replit. It gives you the most amount of functionality, and it actually is a better AI, but it doesn't look nice. And things that look nice will win, unfortunately. So I've had to pull back my launch of my product in the name of just sucking it up and saying it needs design, but whatever. So you asked me, do I want this functionality? Not necessarily. Yes and no, but I couldn't spot a good design from a mile off. Well, I could actually. That's
you could.
Lie, but I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's when you're thinking about Stripe integrations, databases, functionality, all of this API access, security. When you're thinking about all this, God damn it, it's the last thing you're thinking of when you want to make something. You just care about your function, and that's why designers, developers are just totally different people. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, so my bet is that the winner will be something like this UI, like Webflow UI, with the CMS functionality and this. So,
that's from a functionality standpoint. Yes, you're talking about something that's all, and they are starting to add this, by the way. And in fact, you just might have seen on my screen share that Bolt have a Figma integration.
Yeah,
and a lot of them, especially with 04 or 40, whatever it is, it now just reasoning thinking on images. So you can tell it to look for a specific, you can tell it to identify a sign that's in the middle of this photo, and it will look through the photo and just break it down and look for this bit of text that's in the photo. These are getting much better at like recognizing visuals now. So maybe, ideally we'll get to a point where we're just not even doing anything. We are just vibe coding, and we just know that it's good. It's doing good. Do you know what I mean?
But like with UI, sometimes you want it to stand out, and you cannot just trust the AI to make make it stand out. Like everybody would say this. So I don't know. Maybe we will get someday. But I made a tweet that didn't perform. Like nobody liked it. Just a few people maybe. But I said that essentially I noticed, like, I see AI shit like from a mile away, and I'm just sick of it, and I just scroll by because it signals some type of like low effort, and we as humans we really value effort. We value like things that take time, that we spend a lot of energy to create them, and seeing something that people just randomly create, it's kind of like not valuable, even though it looks impressive, especially that if you think like 5 years ago nobody could create that landing page, or like these people couldn't create that landing page or that image, whatever that is. Today everybody can create it in 20 seconds literally, and it's kind of showing that low effort signal that I just don't like. That's why I'm spending like even more time to create, at least I'm trying to create something that it is a bit more unique, that doesn't signal low effort. And I think this will always stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we've done, we've booted out of the arena junior developers and crap designers. Like if your best effort is something that can be vibe coded in 30 seconds, then you aren't doing enough to like move with the industry, because the industry now is moving in a place where it's like you vibe code it, or you use AI to kickstart your thing, or you use AI in a modular way where you're just doing the boring stuff. You're just getting the boring stuff out of the way, and then you'd be like, right, now I've set my stage, now I've got my platform to build upon the AI stuff. Christian reckons OpenAI will win when they buy Windsurf, and they just need to buy Shad CN. I don't know. I'm a bit of an OpenAI fanboy, to be honest. I feel like I am a bit of OpenAI. Everything they do just seems so cool.
Yeah, I think I also like their product more. Like I like the CEO of Claude, Anthropic. I watched the podcast with Lex Friedman. I really enjoyed it. I recommended it even to a bunch of my friends. He looks like a really cool dude. And Sam Altman, he's not so much, honestly. He's not.
Do you know what? Yeah. I feel like he's taken a massive backseat recently, particularly with these streams that are going on. Like, I think their dev team and stuff are starting to be more
true
front and center. But you're right. I don't know. I haven't got much to say about Sam, to be honest. But it does feel like he's stepping, not so prevalent, because it's kind of weird for CEOs to be front and center. I don't know where that sort of changed, but yeah, there you go. It is what it is.
So the next thing that we want to talk about was
I'm AI'd out.
Well, it's still kind of like in the same topic. It's more. Okay. It's this one.
I'll let it slide.
So, do you know about this?
I'm going over. Right, Figma says we can't use. Yes, I do know this. This is crazy.
So, all right. So, guys, what happened? So, Lovable. We've been talking about them nonstop. I don't know why. It's maybe their marketing, whatever. They got an email from Figma telling them that they cannot use the word dev mode. And this is insane, because Figma apparently has the word dev mode. They own the word. They trademarked it. And it's just insane to me, like US allowing them to trademark dev mode. Isn't it a generic word? How could they even they did it even with schema and config and a bunch of other words, and now they are asking Lovable to remove the word dev mode. So I got this also this tweet from Theo, the developer streamer guy. He said, "Hey Figma, go fuck yourself." I really like this. And also my favorite tweet was from Sketch. from the founder of Sketch. He said, ignore, happy to put in place dev mode in Sketch 2 if necessary. So the community right now is going full on against Figma. I see so much actually like hate towards Figma. It's crazy. And I think a lot of this happened after Figma started to not be as much like designer focused, and they put some, focus on developers with dev mode and things like this, and then they started charging for more. They started also to make you to pay the full seat even if you don't need all of their tools. So you pay for dev mode, you pay for sliders. I don't know, like for FigJam. Who uses FigJam? I don't know. And they make you pay for it, and I'm paying like $80 a month just for me and my team, which is crazy. And they also benefits from double seat payment. I don't know what it is called. Like if you're a paid user, and if I add you to my team, I have to pay for you, but you're also it is insane. And they're going the route of Adobe, which is funny because they were the one who, the hero against the villain, the Adobe. We started loving Figma so much because they were against Adobe so much, but now they are becoming Adobe. So what was the quote? Die like a hero, die as a hero, or live long enough to become a villain, something like this. And they are literally becoming the villain with this tweet, with this email. Isn't it crazy?
So let me. I'm absolutely not going to defend Figma right now. But what I need to bring, you need to bring some legalities to the table of how trademarks work, right? And the issue here is Figma. The only thing I can compare it to for the likes of you and me is, imagine you come up with a really sick name for a product, and it's so simple. It's like, why has no one come up with this? And you go on to Namecheap.com, affiliate link in the description, and you go, super creative name for my product, .com. You find a domain name, and it's available, and it's like $10 or something like that, and you're like, oh my god, like why? And you buy it, and you're like, ka-ching, I've got that domain name. Okay. Trademarks are probably the same thing, right? So you come up with a trademark. They come up with dev mode. They're like, they probably tried their luck, and they were like, we want to trademark dev mode, and as you say, schema and config and things like that. And they probably got them right. And unfortunately, no one registered the word. I mean, I'm kind of going in the direction here of like maybe the fault is in the kind of legal system or whatever. But you need to uphold your trademarks. You need to. Otherwise, you lose them. Yeah. So whilst Figma might not actually take any legal action, but they've done something to like say. An example in the guitar world is the Explorer shape, which is like an X shape of guitar that Gibson had since the 50s. And then Dean Guitars used that shape. And because Gibson never like confronted them about it, Dean have been getting away with it for years and years and years, and they've never been able to win a court case. I think they've just won it, or vice versa. I've forgotten how it came up with it, but the point is, Figma have to, it does come across as like an ass move, but they have to uphold that trademark. Yeah. It's not Figma's fault. Well, it kind of is because they went for it, but I can kind of understand them like trying to trademark the word dev mode. I can't think of where dev mode was used particularly before Figma, to be fair. Like we say dev mode, or we say dev instead of developer, but dev mode, arguably it was kind of coined by them, but it's such a ubiquitous term. Config and schema are more surprising than dev mode, to be honest. Yeah. No, I agree. There you go. You got developer mode up in there.
Yeah, we learned about this in the WordPress war. Like the guy, he had WP trademarked, I believe, but he didn't enforce it for some time, and then he started enforcing it on one company, and then it was like, wait, why didn't you enforce it all this time? Why are you enforcing it right now? So Figma legally should do, like, it's in their interest to do it as a company, but at the same time it's kind of like a dick move that they are doing. So that's why the community is not happy with them. But in general, people haven't been really happy with Figma as well. So I think this is also like all adding up.
Camel's back. Yeah.
It's all adding up, and then
See, you got an example here on developer mode. Like, as a veteran developer, you would say developer mode. Turn on developer mode.
I don't know. Like, I think tools. Like dev is such
maybe
a
dev
like.
Tools, actually.
Don't we have .dev as a TLD? It's a domain name, like dev. Like the word dev. It's not something that. Yes, it got popular by Figma, but it's not something that they came up with. So that's why I'm surprised that it got accepted, because dev is very clearly a word that existed in the development environment. Same with mode.
But they were awarded the trademark though.
Yeah,
they were given the trademark.
I saw a screenshot of somebody sharing. They showed that the trademark dev mode has been registered before as well, but it was active, and it is active only the one that Figma has. So somebody in the past has registered it, apparently, probably they let it die, and then Figma got it. It's like a domain, I guess.
Interesting. It's similar to what we were talking about earlier about I don't know, the thoughts escaped me. I had it in my head then, but it's a bit shitty. I mean, but at the end of the day, again, they were awarded the trademark. They were given the trademark. They've got to uphold the trademark. Otherwise, will go. I'm not sure. This goes beyond my knowledge of trademarks, but like maybe contextually, you're allowed to use it. Like as in config, as an example, you're allowed to use config, but not if it was a live event or something like that, or a what do you call it?
I'm not sure.
Conference.
No idea.
Maybe there's but interesting. Yeah, and as you say, I think it's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like people aren't upset with well, they are upset with this, but they were already very upset with Figma, and I think that they've just like just done another thing now.
I think the community got upset with Figma AI. This was one of like the turning points where people were super unhappy with Figma AI creating designs that were stolen. There is no other way to put it in. It was like basically copying other designers, and that's a huge discussion. That's a huge issue. I mean, Apple is dealing with this so much. They are doing so bad with AI. Siri is shit, and they don't have. You're really bad. Stop. How can I stop Siri? Well, I triggered my Siri and I couldn't like get rid of it. Yes, it's so bad, and so the reason for it being so bad is Apple privacy, and they are the company who doesn't steal your data, and as a result of that, their AI is super bad or non-existent. Now the question is it okay for us and for Apple to not steal my data, but then use the AI from another company who stole my data? So I don't know.
Well, that's what they were doing, wasn't it? That's what
they are trying with ChatGPT, but it's not working well. Apple is not,
because there are these companies, I've forgotten what the name is. There are these companies that sell AI data to companies, and Apple is a
exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like this also fair trade as well. Like where is the data coming from? But if you look at Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, they literally torrented books. Like they literally stole books. And they train their AI on stolen work.
Really?
Yeah, and there is also who's his name? James Cameron, the guy who made Avatar, Titanic, like these great movies. I think he made some comment regarding like we as human, we also draw inspiration from other piece of work, and as long as you're not like literally copy pasting the same thing, nobody can say that you stole from them, but you definitely get inspiration. But regarding that note that he made, that comment, he wouldn't be happy if I steal Avatar, not watch it, and actually like steal it, pirate it, and then get inspiration from it. He wouldn't be happy with that. So the least that these AI companies could do would be like pay the authors. But that's not gonna happen because that never happened. The data is out there, so the ship has sailed.
Everything we post is all in public. Yeah, I think we posted. We agreed to terms and conditions. We said what we put out there was public domain. We've known it's been public domain. Like, from a legal standpoint, I just don't think that we've got a leg to stand on as people. Like, we said our information was out there in the public domain.
But what about a book?
Again, I don't know what books they put out there, but were those books then free and available?
They were not free. That's the point. Like, I can send you like the video as well later on. But
that's very naughty, Mark. That's really naughty.
I mean, really that's naughty. Nothing new to him. That's what he does. He's been rebranding really hardly, but under the hood, I guess it's the same old, good old Mark.
Well, I mean, going back to Config, I'm going to Config this next month.
Okay.
April, next month, is it? And looking forward to it. But I wonder if there's going to be, I wonder what the attitude in the mood will be.
Let's talk about that.
There is going to be
when is it? There. Next month, right?
I think so.
And where is it?
It's ringing bells. Config London. It's in London. So you should come. I got the early bird tickets, so my tickets were really cheap. San Francisco and London. I think it's at the Excel. Config London. Excel, it's in the Excel. May 14th, April, May. Yeah, so just under a month. So yeah.
I don't know if I can like get things together. Have you been in another config before?
No, I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'm not a designer. I'm just going to...
like, what are you doing there? Connect.
Getting involved in the community, and figuring out my place in this wide world.
Do you think, like, or... I mean, I know you are not like the biggest Figma user, but do you think they are going to add a publish button and go against Framer and potentially even Webflow?
So I thought they had, and I was like, "You've seen my video, right? It's literally Figma Secret Plan with a big publish button. I released it like 2
I think I've seen it. Yeah, but they haven't done it. They just...
I thought they had. I literally thought they had recently.
What the hell was that slide thing? I mean, okay, presentation, sure, but like there are so many other things that they could do, and they could easily become Framer, like as well. Like they could just
absolutely
a small part of. I mean, what if you could design in the canvas, right, and then transfer them into a different kind of like a big part of their product, but a different part where you can only, for example, use auto layout and nothing else. They could easily do that.
Well, I mean, Figma doesn't enforce auto or stacks, they call it, right? I think Figma doesn't enforce that, but obviously you're losing out on a lot of, what do you call it? Well, you're losing out a lot of responsivity by not using auto layout or stacks. So, I mean, like I say, I made this video years ago about the all Figma need to do is add that, and they've kind of won. But I think they've missed the boat. I think they've lost a lot of people aren't, because I was saying that with Figma at that absolute peak.
Yeah, but I don't know if they have lost maybe they saw this vibe coding coming and they decided to mix it with that. I don't know. But they've been the tool for designers, and a lot of what the community has been saying is that they should stay true to their, their mission to be the tool for designers. I don't disagree with them, going the different routes as well, but the core design tool should still remain, and they should have shipped at least some design tools. For example, AI for designers, it sucks. It doesn't almost exist. Also, there is no proper pen tool or proper masking. There are just so many designer oriented things that are not there yet, but they are going that kind of dev mode, that they are a tool for handoff. They are going essentially that handoff tool route. And I think I don't see it to be too difficult to build something like Framer. Is it really that complex for a company like Figma to build Framer in its tool?
I mean, I don't know how they did it. I don't know what the tools are and all the rest of it that did it. But I think you need to build it from the ground up. It wouldn't just be oh, let's just do this and then we've got publish button. I think
not like that, but
Yeah.
And the flow exists. I think adding CMS and things like this would be kind of huge, because that's a big part of Framer. But they also have already the plugin, so I think a lot of the infrastructure is there. And I would be super surprised to know that while they were building Figma, they never have thought of adding a publish button later. They for sure have thought about it. So their designers and their engineers essentially should have some infrastructure for that. I don't know. Is that not how companies, especially big companies, build tools? To also think about the future and what they can expand it to?
I mean, obviously as a company, to stay focused, you need to stay they needed to be an amazing design tool to first and foremost. And they probably had the idea of dev mode years before it actually even, am I allowed to say dev mode? They probably had the idea.
Here's an 80K fine on you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't blame them for it taking them this long at the same time. But yeah, I do feel like Figma have stagnated, and what could they do? I mean, I'm not claiming that every company needs to always innovate and stuff like that, but it feels quite natural where they are for me. But at the same time, I don't think I think it's more about their company structure and stuff that's not going too well.
So I think what people will be really happy to see in the upcoming update would be probably a few more useful AI tools and design features, things for designers, and then a publish button, at least something similar to Framer. But what's interesting, I had a conversation with somebody in the community. The guy built, he's a super Framer fan user. He used to be a developer user. He said now he uses Framer, and he built Miro.com. He is working with Miro. He built his landing page, so super impressive. I should actually share that as well on my screen. So if we go to Miro.com, this is built on Framer. And this guy is apparently actively working on it. And was interesting, he said he has some information. Knowing that Figma will not add the publish button, at least not going the Framer route. He will add some publishing features, but much different from what Framer has, and it won't be a Framer competitor. I'm paraphrasing him, but that's essentially what he said.
That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty impressive.
It doesn't show up here, but yeah.
Oh, okay. This is just Miro.com, is it?
Yeah.
It's actually Miro.com.
It shows up. It shows up as a Framer being the page builder. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it would be interesting if they come up with something at FigConf or Config, whatever the hell it's called. I don't have much of a perspective on it. I was actually really interested in going back to Sketch and seeing what the lay of the land in Sketch is, because that was always a great tool. And then Figma, it was the collaborativeness, it was collaborative editing that
exactly
blew it away. Figma everyone went onto it, but I think Sketch even supports that now. Yeah, but I guess we'll see.
How was Sketch? This is the guy who made Sketch. Okay. Is it sketch.com? Designers will come home. Yeah, it seems like it. Sketch is a toolkit made by designers for designers that put the focus on you and your work. I remember like Sketch was a huge thing a while back, but then they didn't have collaboration, and they were also Mac only. That was one of the issues.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if they are still Mac only, but I remember designers actually liking it, saying that it has like proper pen support and like more designer like tools, but yeah.
Yeah, you needed a plugin called Zeppelin to actually get what Figma has out of the box with like variables and things like that. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but there was a bit of an ecosystem involved in getting it up and running. But I feel like you own the files as well. Like it's not like it's all in Figma and then that's it. Mind you, I guess it's all Sketch files, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm happy that they are not dead. That they are back, and that I hope that they do something, because competition is good for all of us. And Figma, they completely they took over. They are like the default, like they own like 90%, if not like 95% of the entire industry. Like from Apple to like everybody uses Figma, and that's not great. That's not great. Oh yeah, so you see, you don't need InVision and you don't need Zeppelin. I remember when I was at Adidas, I was also involved in working with Zeppelin to hand off some designs to developers. They were using at that time, and that's 2019, and at that time we were not using Figma. I don't know what they were designing with, but I was using Zeppelin for the handoff.
But so you've not heard anything rumor-wise when it comes to Figma at all for FigConf or anything like that? We're not.
I heard those like negative. I don't know, like what is it called? Like those rumors that they will not go the Framer direction, or not the Framer but like they won't become
publish.
They won't have like similar to Framer functionalities, and I see this a lot in my audience. A lot of people who have they are like great designers. They feel at home when they are inside of Figma, but they still don't have a proper portfolio. They don't need a crazy website. They don't want to become a developer, but they want a like beautiful, proper portfolio. And now they have to learn Framer even for that. And I know Framer is much simpler than Webflow, but it is still quite some learning going on. If Figma would allow them to just basically put everything together in a few frames and make it mobile responsive, because it seems like they have all the requirements for it with auto layout.
Do you want this though? Do you genuinely want this?
I personally don't need it, but if they do a great job, why not? If there is a one pager that I want to get online, why not design it in Figma and just push it live until like we build the rest of the product or whatever that we want to do. Or if it's like for smaller things, definitely, that's a definite yes. For bigger things, it depends on how good they are. Like with Webflow, we have this extendability, we have the CMS, we have everything that we want. So like for a marketing website, you basically have everything you want. Is Figma going to have all of this from day one? For sure, no. That's clear. But they could have at least something similar to Framer. And if I were Framer, I would be more afraid of Figma doing that, because Framer is saying that we are like Figma for web design, for designers, essentially.
No, I agree. It's such a low-hanging fruit that Figma, attacked, and they did it so well. They're slightly more advanced, but it's still such a low-hanging fruit, and I think it's ripe for picking.
Two people in the comments are saying that Adobe XD was popular and they were at peak, and I do not agree with it. Like, okay, have you seen Adobe XD at peak? Did they even have a peak?
The stats are pretty are out there. I think you should look at the stats and see for yourself. I think it was pretty popular. I've worked on a couple of XD projects.
Okay, I did as well. I worked with a designer who didn't want to work with Figma, actually a good friend of mine, but only with Adobe XD, and it was so frustrating. Actually, we did 2 projects with Adobe XD, and we were like converting everything to Figma because we needed that collaborative environment the way that Figma had it. And with Adobe XD, you had to do it through Adobe accounts, and it never quite worked the way we wanted. So I was dissing them like pretty. I was so happy to know that they went away, especially because it was Adobe, and I mean, come on, Adobe is evil. They charge you money if you cancel your subscription. Who does this?
Come on, the contractor's there. They just need to make it clear.
Yeah, but you have that is like literally forcing you to have that contract. Like you don't have an option. You can't to do anything about it, and it's
no. You can pay monthly. It's just more expensive. Or you can save and pay yearly. But
no, you cannot. You couldn't pay monthly. That's they had I remember I signed up and I was paying monthly, but the contract was yearly. So if I would cancel mid-year, I would pay some money to cancel it.
Yeah, I mean it's there. They've just been told to make it clearer. They weren't. I don't know whether there's so many shady UX tactics like that. They're just so frustrating. Yeah. It's like all you're going to do is piss people off,
Yeah, but I mean Figma, the way they started, now you could argue they are like a bit more greedy, but still partially acceptable.
Very greedy.
Yeah.
Very greedy.
But they started really well. Very generous free plan.
But that's how all startups are happening nowadays. They're literally getting funded, so they've got money to splash, and they actually don't realize, or maybe not realize is the wrong word, but they don't think about how economic the pricing is. They just try and get it as cheap as possible because they're getting free money, and then when they stop getting the free money, then they actually need to be economical about the price they charge. So we're lured into this false sense of like, oh wow, this thing's really cheap, or oh wow, this thing is free, and then we get hooked on it. Domain names are the latest example of that I've recently encountered. Domain names are cheap, really cheap for the first year, ridiculously cheap for the first year. They know a bunch of developers are coming up with a bunch of products, and they get excited. They're like, "Oh, buy the domain name. It can get them in." And then year after year, it's then triple the price after that. It's just annoyingly the way of the world is right now, and it's annoying.
Yeah, and looking at my looking at the comments in my Instagram and also searching. So Adobe came out in March 2016. Figma was September 2016. So Figma came out later. That's interesting. I thought Figma came out first. And then there was Sketch. Sketch was there in 2010. So they've been there for quite a long time. But what Figma brought to the table was this interactivity in web. So they utilized this new technology, they utilized WebGL essentially to create this free-form canvas and be really performant. Because previously you could not do this in a browser. And even their app, I think it's based on Electron or something. It's essentially just a Chrome browser, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, they came out being really performant, while Adobe XD was still kind of like just similar to Photoshop, but made for frames, I guess. And they lost the battle.
To be honest, yeah, I think Sketch got complacent. To be honest,
yeah,
I think that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so surprised. 2010 is a long time. That's
before Webflow. Yeah, Webflow came out in 2013.
Not long before Webflow.
Yeah, Webflow was 2013, and they had a peak. Sketch had a peak, but being Mac only and only using app, that killed them.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Miro, because they were also getting really popular. By the way, I have a few clients that still use Miro. Tomorrow is Saturday. I'm gonna start working on a very small mini project for a few hours. The entire documentation that I need is laid out in Miro. And my client just likes it there.
Right?
Why?
For running our workshops and stuff. Workshops, collecting
data. Is it better than FigJam?
I mean, yeah, it's way more advanced than FigJam. I've tried using FigJam. It's good for little workshops and stuff like that. But it's got FigJam probably has timers and things like that. But you can.
I need to see one of your workshops. I need to be in one of them.
This is where I get the hands involved, and I'm like this and da. Yeah. I need to refine my workshop, but yeah, all done through Miro. To be honest, this is a whole subject in and of itself, but it's debatable, because oftentimes it's more of a presentation tool than actually an interactive tool. Because as much as you want clients to get involved in the workshop and actually put stuff down, it's just it's quite difficult. But that's a subject for another day.
Sure. Yeah, cool. Do we have anything else?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I was going to plug my book review for the
do that.
Edgar Allan book. That was good fun. I was excited to get that review out, and I'm glad Edgar Allan caught wind of it and retweeted me and stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, you haven't bought that book, right? You haven't bought the
but you convinced me to buy it. Yeah.
Oh wow!
You absolutely.
There you go, Edgar Allan.
Yeah.
Take note, Edgar Allan.
I mean,
I'm referring people now.
I love the guys.
It's not worldwide shipping though.
Isn't it? I haven't finished your video, right? But I was actually in the middle of watching it. So, guys, go watch this video. All his videos. Subscribe. And all the fun.
Yeah, exactly. Just subscribe.
Yeah.
But it was
it's
good. I really
interesting.
enjoyed it.
And I think this is what I need, because I'm transitioning from this freelancer world to, I have an agency. I've been saying that I have an agency, but still it's kind of still transitional, because I'm still giving away work to people instead of doing it myself. And this is the transition happening. And I think based on the few minutes that I saw, the book is what I need.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what you take from it though, because I don't want to rub your back too much, but you seem to be doing good. You seem to be getting on with things and whatever. But it would still be interesting to know what you get from the book, because I certainly learned a few little things here or there. But it's very surface level over a broad range of topics, so it kind of skims through the the extent of running a company, which and I do say in the video, like, if you're not looking to run a company or refine processes and stuff, then it's not really for you. And I know that a lot of my audience are like that. Like I say in the video that I've tried. You can see a video there, design process. There's another video I've done, like just trying to talk about what it's like to run a company and make more money running a company, but they don't perform well at all. So I knew a lot of my audience wouldn't necessarily buy the book, which is why the other thumbnail for that is save your money, because I think there will be a lot of people who would buy that.
Yeah, that's the one I clicked
from it, but actually so I think that there's going to be a lot of people who think that it's going to actually benefit them, but it doesn't, because a lot of them aren't interested in building a company, so that those people can absolutely save the money. But but other than that, that'll do it, I think.
Yeah. I think I will buy the book. I am an audiobook guy, but I heard from the video, I saw it, like you showed that there are a lot of places to note things down, so that's really interesting. I used to do this actually when I was learning English. I was used to like note down in all books that and even like I didn't do it with like precious books like these, but
nice.
Yeah.
Post-its, that's why Post-its were invented.
These are so good. I still I keep them close and I take inspirations from them. Sometimes I just go through things when I feel overwhelmed actually with designs, and this is good.
I'm curious to know if they're going to release new books, because I'm just looking up at this one now, and it just say Volume 1. I wonder if they're going to release a few.
Well, Mason is super knowledgeable. Like every time that I talk to him, I feel like, holy shit, I know nothing. He's so knowledgeable, and he's also so he answers any questions that I have. Like he's so open and basically. So I think I hope that there will be a volume 2, and I'm gonna ship the I'm gonna buy this one.
I wonder what it will be. I wonder what it would be about. Maybe it's a design book,
vibe coding,
maybe it's a development book, maybe it's a vibe. I don't know. Well, they got the AI thing on their website, didn't they?
Yeah. They teased us for Webflow config. They said this is the biggest bet that they've done. They made a tweet, and I was like, I want to know more. What is it? So they just showed that they pushed some code, and that's the biggest bet, because they did Slater, and I don't know if it's doing well or not, but I don't hear much about it. And honestly, like I personally stopped using it because I found the other, something like Cursor is just doing more and kind of easier to just.
But where are you storing those JavaScript files though?
We were using Slater.
For Webflow now.
Yeah, for Webflow. If it's like smaller piece of code, we just do it inside of Webflow, because with the limitation that changed, it can be, stored there. And my clients, I tried to sell them, Slater and a few other tools. They were not really, okay, it's a piece of code. Why do I need to, is there no other way? And I can't tell the client, there is no other way, because there is other way, which is putting it directly inside of Webflow, which we do. We do that basically for most projects, and for a few others, we use, what is the other tool called? It's on top of my tongue. The tool that allows you to store code and what's it called?
It's not
Code Sandbox. Code Sandbox.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, but that got blocked, didn't it? That got blocked.
No, it didn't. Like the last time I used it, like it was like 2-3 weeks ago. I used it.
Oh, okay.
Blocked by what?
Because cause, so that you couldn't access the code outside of the sandbox. So just I'm positive that happened, but they must have.
They have a public. There's a button that you can make the code public or private.
Okay.
And I could understand why this is happening, because they don't cache the the code. So every time it pings their servers, and it can be expensive for them. But I have other friends in the community. I asked them that question that you asked me, Chris and a few others. They use various other tools. Not everybody uses Code Sandbox. There are a bunch of ways.
The correct way is putting it on some sort of bucket with a CDN in front of it. There are a few, like, I mean, DigitalOcean for $5 a month, you can just dump it on a bucket there and have all that taken care of. There are a few little services here, but like, yeah, Code Sandbox is obviously free. But I personally think we need to get out of this looking for free solutions for everything. Like, I don't mind using a free solution for what it's used for, but that is not what Code Sandbox is used for. You know, you shouldn't be piggybacking off of a loophole in their system to host your code for a website not even there. So that I feel really uncomfortable doing that. But I will use a free tool. But the moment you hit those limits, unless you're going to do whatever you need to optimize it, if I'm using it correctly within the free limits, I feel okay. But,
I mean, with the projects that we have, the clients have maximum a few thousand loads per month, like a few, maybe tens of thousands, maybe at best per month, not like crazy numbers. So these numbers in the world of internet are, they are nothing. Look at what you could do with Cloudflare, and this is also another option where some people store their code in. You can do it in Cloudflare, also for free, I guess.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, but I think that is something that they allow you to do. It's like within the usage limits, basically. It's not.
And I think it's fair to use one of these, and once you hit the usage limit, you start paying, and clients would understand this. But
there you go.
You could also store it as a text file in Webflow.
You could.
I don't do this.
I don't know. I don't know what. I think there's probably something the browser is doing to parse that, and I don't know. All that
I don't know. That would be too. Yeah, I don't do that. But
let's wrap it up. I think let's wrap up the stream.
The sketch.
Would love some feedback if you have stuck around to the end. Would love some feedback on these things, because we went into this with no planning. We always geek out and talk about what we like to talk about, but we're trying to develop some sort of structure to this. We're trying to sort of like make it a routine thing, but need some sort of
guys
input.
Do you have feedback? I'm like, I see in my Instagram we've had like 10, 12 concurrent viewers almost all the time, but it's not the same people. Like, people come and go, and that's the worst thing about Instagram. It's the app is so distracting. It like you go into a live, and then the next moment your hand just wants to go next. So the attention
spans are limited.
Yeah, very limited. Just people see a few things. But guys, the ones who are here, the ones who I don't know might have sticked so long with us, if you have any feedback, would love to know. Yeah. Also, we had a few people on my YouTube.
Well. Yeah. Oh, you streaming it on your YouTube as well?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, yeah. If you're watching it after the fact, if you tuned in, cheers for that. And I guess we'll see you soon.
Thank you guys for watching.
No plan is best plan.
We'll get better at this. All right. Have a good one.